Hey, it's Jeremy from Jeremy.net. I am a comic book artist, writer, creator, self publisher, and I share my creative process here with you online. If you enjoy these live streams, would like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month, like the one we're going to do after today's public live stream, you can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $2 a month. Head on over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free newsletter at newsletter.jeremy.net. And if you would like to purchase physical copies of my comic books or if you're digitally on Kindle, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. That will forward you to my Amazon author page. So, as I mentioned, I will be doing our Patreon exclusive live stream. I call it Art Book Study Group, where we do deep dives in some of the best art books around, try to suck out all the knowledge we can. And we will be doing a session right after today's live stream. So we'll wrap up, then maybe take like a 20-30 minute break so I can go to the bathroom, get something to drink. And then we'll start up with the Patreon live stream, which will be probably close to finishing our long-running deep dive on Walt Reed's The Figure. So that's what's going on there. And in the meantime, we're continuing with this piece that I've been working on. And it's just me sort of reworking the facial features for the main character of my comic book. So let's see here. Honestly, I feel like I kind of want to do a warm-up sketch because I've been very busy with work and I've had no time to do any personal drawing since last week's live stream. And it very much feels sort of like, just disjointed. I know that I already have the character sketched, and I'm gonna draw her at the angle that I have on the previous cover. But I feel like just for the sake of loosening up, I want to do another sketch of her facing a different direction. And the other thing about not doing any personal art at all for most of the week is that it leaves me with a little bit of well, I'm a little bit loopy just because I haven't had much rest lately. So let's go a little bit lighter. Do an angle facing not so extreme. First off, I've been drawing those up angles. Let's draw her maybe looking slightly down and just off to the right. And I think it's going to be challenging for me if I am going to make that high cheekbone but rounded face. If I'm going to make that sort of the signature of her profile, I tend to draw in sharp angles. So having a face that has a subtle S curve as a signature of the character's features, it's going to require some adjustment on my part. And that actually has me thinking about drawing into your strengths versus your weaknesses. Because the other thing is, I could just say, screw it, I draw how I draw, and the character just looks however it looks coming out of my stylus. But if that were the case, I wouldn't be reworking her features. I would just have left her as she looks like the character that I drew on the first cover, like the character that's in the upper left corner. And it's like that's just how she looks. And that's sort of a challenge to me in terms of like, well, how much do I want to exert my creative authority, my authorial voice over the character in terms of like, this is how I see them, this is how I want them to be represented, versus just drawing whatever comes out of the pen or stylus. A big part of one of the things I wanted to do in this comic was let go, not be as much of a control freak, and let things simply be however they come out. But how much of that control do you give up before the book no longer represents what you envisioned? Let's see here. I see Sad Villainies in the chat. It says first time watching live. Great stuff. Well, thank you for joining us, and thanks for catching me live, Sad Villainy. Let's see here. I see a robot in the chat. It says how to study unique people for drawing. Well, that is a great question. And there are many, many artists who have done great videos on the topic. So honestly, I'm not inventing anything new when I answer this, but there are two things. One is just the practice of drawing from life in general. If you can go out to, crowded places, malls, bookstores, coffee shops, any place where people just congregate. There's a YouTube channel, not YouTube channel. There's I want to say it's an Instagram feed called People of Earth, and it's just a photographer who travels to state fairs all around the United States and just photographs just random people, and you get a very wide a range of people. And sometimes the comments on it are sometimes unkind because they feel like maybe the photographer is making fun of unusual people. But the intent, as I understand it, of that feed is not to mock people, but just simply to show there's such a huge variety of identities and facial features and looks across the country, across different ethnicities, across different cultures. And they're just trying to show a wide variety of people. So I would say that one is going to public places and just sketching from life. And then two, honestly, finding a lot of reference that is similar to that that Instagram feed that I mentioned, just finding reference online for just unusual faces, or just looking up unusual faces online and trying to see how many different ones you can find to sketch from. Because all of us want to just simply know what the answer is. Like, tell me what to do to draw better, and I'll do it. And I am of the opinion the longer I do this, the less that there is any one size fits all answer. There's best practices, which really come down to understanding the fundamentals of drawing the figure and then applying those fundamentals on whatever drawing problem it is, whether it's understanding environment or lighting or anatomy, designing characters, all of those things. The stronger your understanding of drawing fundamentals are, the better you will be at tackling those tasks. But beyond that, the actual how do you break down something like drawing interesting characters, it just becomes a little bit of trial and error and a little bit of trying whatever, let me see here, trying whatever, techniques click with you the most. And I just saw Herman in the chat. And Herman, just so you know, I've got the I realized I forgot to open the voice channel before the stream started, but I've been trying to remember to do that. But always good to see Herman in the chat. How you doing, man? Um, oh, I do have another, and again, this is just a technique, an approach to try. But in terms of trying to draw unique or interesting characters, something that I've seen animators try, and that is turning animals into people or people into animals. Meaning that if you have, for instance, you know what? Let's just do this because, to be honest, I'm kind of loopy and I don't know how much progress I'm going to make on my actual character design today. So it's worthwhile for me to maybe do something that'll shake it up and try an odd little I don't know, an exercise as opposed to just pounding my head against a drawing that is or isn't working. But hang on, let me take everything that I have on the screen right now, and I want to group them all so that I can hide them in one pass. All right. But anyway, let's do an image search for a woodchuck. So let's take this little guy. And let's copy image. Sometimes the copy paste from my browser to Procreate is fussy, in which case I can just save this guy. But anyway, point being, let's just take our little woodchuck guy here and say we're going to turn the woodchuck into a character. Let's see here. Robot says people into animals. Wild. Yeah. I mean, it's an odd technique. Not odd. It's a very inventive and it's a great technique. Hi, Dylan. Good to see you. Hi, Chris. And Sad Villainy says this is an interesting exercise. Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, I need to get a little bit of coffee into my system. I'm not as hyped up and energetic as I usually am. It's just one of those things where I've been working long hours and not getting enough sleep lately. But anyway, let's say that we're going to make this guy into, I don't know, a butler. We might start with giving him a little bit of a high collar, and I'm trying to take that the way that the nose points up like that. And then let's give him some little beady eyes. And let's give him some glasses perched on his nose just to break up that profile a little bit. That's one of the things is, and adding little touches that are not in the reference that you're looking at. Specifically, this is one of those things where you never know what the right touch to add is going to be. You just got to try stuff out. This is one of those, and that's I don't want to say it's a crappy answer, but I know a lot of times you're asking for specific, concrete answers, and the idea of, well, I'm just going to try, adding, glasses to them, even though the reference doesn't have glasses. It's one of those where it's getting into the habit of experimentation that is that's the real lesson. The lesson is not, oh, add glasses, add add a coat here, add this or that. It's getting into the habit of intentionally trying different things when you don't know what the answers are, because that nature of being willing to experiment is what will get you to those answers quicker. Like, no one expects you to know. If you just knew what the right answer was and what to do, you would just do it immediately and the character design would be done. What happens, I think, is if you do character design over a number of years, which I have not spent like a career of doing character design, but if you do, then eventually you get a sense of what might be a quick move. Like, you get a sense of the things that will help you get to the answers quicker, but it still doesn't mean that you are going to draw the perfect thing right off the bat. I'm going to push. See, now this is a place where I start looking to deviate. Like, look at the little black mouth, those little black lips that the guy has. And I'm thinking, all right, now I start trying to push those features out a little bit more and exaggerate them. And I think I'm going to add some heavy lids onto his eyelids. And I hear the voice channel opening up. Hey, Herman, how's it going, man?
Hanging in there. Hanging in there, living life.
Yeah.
Do the best I
Same. Well, I've been tired and loopy lately. We got through our big move, but we have a lot of unpacking to do. And we have a storage, some stuff that's coming out of stores that's arriving later next week. And I got to get my studio kind of set up before then. And I haven't had time because I'm busy working, which it's good to have the work. I am grateful to have the work, but I do feel kind of exhausted lately, just, running and gunning. But, see, just doing a little character design exercise. I'm not sure if you were here when Robot in the chat asked about character design.
Yeah. So, what do you break it down?
Well, he was asking just about general tips for doing character design, and I had mentioned that, drawing in public places, going to coffee shops, bookstores, any place where you can just hang out, parks, and just watch people, that's really good. Drawing from life. I always say that's the number one thing that will help improve in terms of character design and just draftsmanship in general. But then I thought, let me see if I could just push a little bit farther and give something more concrete. And I wish I could remember where I saw this technique so I could give proper credit. But I saw it was definitely someone who was an animator. And they were talking about the idea of either turning humans into animals or animals into humans. But the point is that simply by doing some interspecies sketching, you can come up with features and expressions and ways of creating a figure or a character that you probably would not have done if you were just drawing. If I were just drawing a butler, I might not have put together the features the way that I'm putting them together here. Or if I were just drawing a woodchuck, I might not. If I were going the other way, where I was trying to draw a human into a woodchuck, I might not come up with the same character either. But just this idea of being able to, and let me just switch to a black line here and clean them up. Being able to create a character based on an animal, just giving you that just enough distance to spark the imagination and get some more interesting, innovative ideas out of the character design. So I just thought instead of talking about it, why not be about it? And I figured I'd just sketch out a quick version. Plus, my brain is kind of fried, and I don't know how much progress I'm really going to make on the comic book character design that I'm working on. So I thought, why not try this? Although, since we're talking about character design, maybe that might be what I need to do is look at an animal that might fit the character I'm doing.
Right.
So I think after doing this, I am going to look for an animal that maybe fits the personality of the main character from my Pandora's Box story. See what I can come up with. Let's see here. Chris had some comments in the chat.
I think he got about look like he's bougie or something. Like,
well, you know, I mean, yeah. Well, that's the funny thing. I wasn't sure even where I was going to go with this character, but I was looking at the woodchuck and I thought, something about him said butler. I mean, I could have gone like truck driver. I could have gone, I don't know, logger, short order cook. There's a whole wide variety of things I could have done with this guy. I could have gone with just teacher. But there was something about this guy, about the woodchuck that well, no, see, now I'm starting to put like animal features in him, and that's the thing I am trying to fight against, is trying to turn him back into an animal. But yeah, I think that this, when it comes to just trying to create interesting looking characters, I think this is an excellent technique.
Yeah, I mean, kind of similar. Like, I don't know. We used to do like it's like words. Like I used to choose words about when I want to create a character or whatever. So I'd be like, I don't know, tall, muscular, sassy. I would just throw words like that and try to design a character out of like words like that. Well, I like that. I like the design.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's nice to actually do something that doesn't feel like I'm like pulling my hair out, because lately I have been feeling like
believe me, I know.
I've been off my mojo, let's say.
Right.
The work has not been coming smoothly or regularly to me, and that gets frustrating sometimes. I think that's true for anybody, any creative. But
I guess plus so like I've been having to leave work early, so like and I have to be at work at like 11 o'clock. So I'm leaving at 8:30 because I gotta catch 2 or 3 buses to get across town.
Oof.
So now, it's taking a toll on me. But I mean, it's getting better, But it's just me getting used to of doing that. But at the same time, like I'm using that time when I do get to work extra early. I can probably sketch a little bit and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. I'm back to like sketching here and there. It's not a lot. I've been just trying to get like since the transition of the Windows thing, I've been just trying to get buy all the equipment and files and stuff, and flash drives and all that stuff to start making that transition. That's I'm upgrading like computers and stuff like that. So for the next, I guess up until October, so I'll just be taking it slow, sketching here and there. That's about it.
Well, it's good that you're making time for that, and you're getting on a new setup. Let's see here. Chris was in the chat and he said that he was listening to one of my long shorts. They said one of them was anyway about the one about the internships that was going on before, about like just one of the best ways to get opportunities when you're in school. Things I wish I knew when I was in school.
I couldn't tell you. So not to successful at it. Like it just didn't work out because being a working student, it was just hard to make the transition because you have people that they say they want interns, and then you're like, okay, but I'm like, I'm paying rent. You know what I'm saying? I can't just be like, doing an internship, and so it's like I don't know. It's like if you don't have like, I mean, I guess it would work out if you got people backing you up. When you don't, that's another story. Because if you're doing everything by yourself, and then you're like, okay, I'm living in an apartment, I got to take care of bills and stuff like that. So it can be difficult. It was very difficult for me because I was trying to look for jobs, and internship and stuff like that. But it's like a lot of them were unpaid, unpaid internships, and I'm like, I couldn't do that because I was a working student. I could not just like not. I needed the money to pay my. You
need to get paid. Got to eat.
Right, and I had a budget. Like I couldn't just be using up all of my FAFSA, like my student loan money on. So I had to. It was like just playing a balancing game, But if you do get an internship, or like that's Jeremy is the one to tell you about that. I don't know. Like I couldn't tell you, but I could tell you what I did, what I tried, and how it was difficult. And I was like, if I had some type of backup system, or like to help me out, like that would have been great.
Yeah, I mean that is one of the things. Is a lot of times the system of getting internships, it's unfair in that unless you have the financial resources to not be getting paid to work unpaid, then it's like this is you're kind of locked out of a whole portion of the education system and the employment system because it's kind of a pipeline. I mean, I'll tell you this. I was lucky in that when I was in college, I was on athletic scholarship. So, the bills were getting paid. But I had an internship at Nickelodeon Animation. And I was very lucky in that my coaches knew how important it was to me. And they arranged it so that I could miss practice twice a week to drive out to Burbank to just do my internship.
That's what I'm talking about, man. See, like stuff like that, like that's what's up. Like that's when somebody see you have a goal and you're trying, like like I'm just being real. I was the only one in my family that I got like 2 college degrees, and it just really seemed like it was like one year out the other. Like it just wasn't. I feel like it just wasn't important. Even though I wasn't out, what I'm saying, I wasn't out there hitting the streets. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't trying to beat up anybody, kill anybody. I was busting my ass trying to be a student and try to like get the best things out of life. And I knocked out 2 college degrees. Was like it wasn't nothing. It was just the other stuff, the life stuff, getting caught up in other people's that stuff. In fact, when you have that support, like I'm saying, like when your coaches and they did that, that was dope, man. Like, see, I didn't have that.
Well, I mean, I was very lucky, but here's the Well, right. But here's the interesting thing. I ended up not getting a job at Nickelodeon, and the reason why it was purely timing, because the only way I was able to take the internship was that I had to do it in the fall. I couldn't be an intern in spring. Because spring was when the competition season was for track and field, the sport I was on scholarship for. And what that meant was that when I was back in school full time spring, my senior year of spring, there was a different set of interns there. And usually the way that the internship companies that do hire interns, the way they usually do it is they'll have interns like the whole year. They'll work in fall and they'll work in spring. And then during summer, if they have new spots open, that's who goes to the top of the hiring stack. So you see, if I had been able to stay at Nickelodeon the whole year, then it doesn't guarantee that I would have gotten work. There were no guarantees, but I got along well enough with my coworkers, and I was actually able to get a little bit of freelance work when I graduated. But the people that they were actually hiring in were the people who had been there day in, day out as interns in the semester right before they were graduating. So that way it's just whatever jobs opened up, whether it was an assistant in the editing department, whether it was doing cleanup for the storyboard artists, whatever it was, getting a production, because a lot of times production assistant is a gateway job in. Even if you're somebody who wants to draw, just getting in and being a PA on a show, getting your foot in the door, then you're there, and if you're working on your art skills, and they know that, that just gives you more opportunity. It's kind of like the next step from being an intern is like you're now somebody who's getting paid to be there, even though you're not drawing. But then when a new paid gig opens up, a lot of times you've already let the people know, hey, if a job opens up in the ink and paint department doing color stuff, I want to be first in line. If a job opens up doing layout revisions or background assistant, if something opens up, I'm raising my hand just so you know I'm here. That's what I want to do. That's kind of like the that's sort of the pipeline from intern to PA to and mind you, this is me talking as someone who has never worked full time in animation, and this is somebody whose experience in animation was more than 20 years ago. So I'm talking as an outsider who's old. It might be very, very different now. That's just my memory of when I was coming out of school. So I need to put that caveat in there because there's probably kids in school right now or kids that have just broken into animation like, man, it wasn't nothing like that. So I need to put that disclaimer out there. Let's see here. A couple of comments in the chat. Let's see here. Dylan said they just finished watching Gilmore Girls earlier this week. Said the last two episodes were the best episodes of the series.
I never watched it like that, but I mean, it was the show was successful. I mean, I guess people really loved it. So
Well,
that's funny.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that it wasn't a show that I was into, but I know my wife's personality pretty well, and I recommended it to her, and now it's her favorite show. Like she likes to fall asleep with the TV on. She's already watched the whole series through like multiple times, and more often than not, if she's napping, that's what'll she'll have that on in the background. Um, to the point where I haven't watched every episode, but I've seen bits and pieces of enough of them that I know all of the characters. I know most of the storylines and the different relationships. And it is a very well written show. And I say the thing that I recommend it. A lot of guys end up watching it because their partners are watching the show. But the thing is, they're witty, intelligent women, and they're the thing that makes it compelling that a guy will like, oh, I'll watch this, is that they're the kind of women that you would want to hang around. They're interesting and funny and smart, and that I think is what makes it I think work really well as a show that guys end up watching that they would not have expected to like. So
CW was like actually really good. Like that guy Greg Berlanti, like
mm-hmm.
he was I mean kind of because it's weird. Like when you watch like a lot of those like DC CW shows, they had like regardless if they had superheroes on the show. I mean, they actually spent money for the show, but it was just like they had like a Gilmore Girls, like it had like a CW type feel to the and it was just intelligent, like how they hooked that up, you know, because it was definitely watching like a superhero show, but it was just like, but it had like you was watching the Gilmore Girls and like a CW show, which was I said what was brilliant. I guess for what 10, 15 years he was knocking them out like. Flash, the Arrows, Supergirl, who else?
Black Lightning.
Yeah, I love Black Lightning, but but that was getting a lot of unnecessary, stuff.
Well,
it wasn't fair. I was just like crazy. I'm like, it's a superhero show, but people just want to be people,
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you that a lot of the show, like for instance, I've seen the first episode of The Flash, which from my understanding is probably like the best of those CW shows. But I haven't seen any more of them because again, it's just one of those where you're busy, you're working, and I just didn't have time. I haven't had time to watch any of those.
You got Netflix, right?
I do, but I still don't have. It's not the access. It's not the access. It's not the access. It's the time.
Yeah, I know. But this, I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, like I said, it's a time. Like and I've I used that time like to because I was chilling with my moms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like on that time, like my pop fast, like we would just kind of like I would just I she was home all the time, so
Mm-hmm.
I just bought up all like a lot. I bought like Netflix and got Disney Plus. I have
Mm-hmm.
what's the HBO Max like,
Mm-hmm.
and and occasionally I would when I would buy things Amazon, I would get the Amazon for 30 like the Prime for like 30 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just so we had a multitude of things like to watch, and I would just throw it on. Like we at a time we'd throw an episode on. Like we went through so many seasons of that. We finished up the whole collection of Smallville. I actually really love those, right? Yeah, that Smallville, and I didn't see it when I remember when I was at the time I was going to school and stuff and working. Like I didn't really watch it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to the conclusion of, I'm just like, oh, it was actually really good. They really did some really good stuff like on those CW shows. Like I'm like amazed, like how some of I mean, after a while they become repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they at the time it was just doing some really good stuff. Yeah, and Dylan was like, yeah, the shows are really witty. Like, yeah, like CW, like whoever, Repalanti and them, like those whoever was running those shows for the past 20 years. Good job. They've been doing some good work.
Well, I know the guys that ran Smallville. I saw their name. Like we were watching Wednesday on Netflix. Wednesday Adams, the Wednesday show with Jenny Ortega.
Yeah, no. Have you seen those? Like,
it's excellent. It's like
it's excellent. Like,
it is excellent.
Like, it's excellent.
It is excellent. Like if you enjoyed the Netflix Sabrina the Teenage Witch, again, same creative people, same vibe.
The Archie show, like stuff like that. Because remember the Archie, it was Sabrina kind of spent off for Archie, didn't she?
Well, they took place in the same world. Riverdale and Sabrina, they existed in the same world. I think that they may have had her appear in like one or two episodes.
Right.
But I think the reason why there wasn't more crossover was just more of like one of those business like internal politic things, because they were supposed to be in the same world, and they but they didn't really pull on that. But the tone of Sabrina is so different. Like it's very much more like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer type stuff. Whereas from what I've seen, because I never really watched Riverdale, but Riverdale seemed much more like a soap opera.
Right. It was a weird like soap opera type deal, but it was like for it's when you reinventing characters. Like I mean, come on, Archie been around like I don't know how long,
Mm-hmm.
Like since I was a kid. Since I think my mom and dad probably like kids. Archie's been around, So I was like, it's crazy how they reinvent these characters. Like, and I'm like, they made the Archie show very interesting. Like, the Riverdale show, like to check out. And I haven't watched the Sabrina one yet, but I was going to, but we were still in the middle of like watching the Riverdale stuff. So it was, you just hopping around from that to Andor to like.
Oh man, I've only seen season 1 of Andor. I haven't gotten to season 2 yet.
That's all I saw. I haven't seen season 2. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm somewhat in the middle of Legion.
Ooh, okay. All right, I'm gonna tell you, I love Legion. I loved it. Shit's weird. It's a weird, and it doesn't get less weird. It gets more weird the deeper the series goes, and knowing how weird it starts, that's saying something.
You can get lost, so like you really have to pay attention to those episodes. Like, it's weird. But, one episode left of BTAS. What is BTAS? What is that?
Batman the Animated Series.
Oh yeah. Those are classics. I'm gonna rewatch those again because and my favorite episodes of those were like the one with the Mr. Freeze, the introduction of Mr. Freeze.
The Heart of Ice. That is a class. They won an Emmy for that. That was the first time. Like that was when I was like, okay, yeah, this show is for real. Like they were doing all ages in the sense of it's a show for both parents and kids, because that was like.
She was like she was a grown woman. I remember like
Hmm.
when back then when it was out, I was like in my 20s and stuff watching because I mean I was an artist. I love animated and stuff like that. But she was
Hmm.
older than me, and like she was just like on some like. She was like, yo, like it was crazy. Like when she was talking to me, like she found it out. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, yo, did you? She said, did y'all watch Batman animated series? I was like, what you know about me? She was like, yo, like she was like breaking down the
She was
episodes
like,
and
"Let me hip
everything.
you to something."
Right. I was just like, well, see, at the same time, I gotta realize that she also was one I didn't know at the time. Like she was the one that was into like Nintendo and stuff. Maybe my
Hmm.
brother wasn't. She was the one. She was the gadget person. She was always looking at the
Ah.
phones to do this, do that. She used to have the big giant mobile phones and stuff. She was that person. She was the one that got the original Nintendo. Like yeah, she's a gadget person. So like she was always innovative and stuff like things of that nature. So I'm like, so I gave her a slide. Like yeah, you watch Batman right there. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, it's a classic show. I like those. I like when you spend with that and also the Superman animated series.
What did you think? Did you watch the Cape Crusader on Amazon?
Yeah, I like it. Was okay. It was yeah. It felt with. I felt like they was going through this whole this woke nonsense again.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of getting sick of it. I mean, although it was still a different take, good take. But my thing is like this: why does everything have to be like that?
Hmm.
Why does everything? I mean, just make the show, make the show, make the show, and then I'm like, I mean, I know you want to hit different demographics and stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm just like, yo, just make the show, just make the show, and I don't know. It's just sometimes I just think people that are in charge of that are doing too much. You know,
Well, I mean,
wait.
I enjoyed it, and I didn't have any problems with any of the changes they made in terms of the
Right.
characters.
It was all right. Just, but did you watch the Superman movie?
Not yet, although I saw that I think starting this week you can stream it. Well, here's the
Right.
thing: we have
I have.
HB. Oh, you haven't watched it?
I have watched it, but
Oh.
it's like it's weird because it isn't like the Man of Steel, but it's different. It's okay because it's James Gunn different, and I'm
Hmm.
like, which is cool. But then it's a lot of things that James Gunn does that I feel like I kind of get tired of seeing like in his movies, but
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just weird because now it's affecting Superman. You know what I'm saying? Like now
Yeah.
he's bringing that sensibility over to Superman. I'm just like, okay, this is what it's going to be like for the next 10, 15 years. I mean, it's doing well enough. People are supporting it. I just, man,
Well, I'm sorry, Chris. Chris had a comment. He said that I live in a country that doesn't give two craps about this stuff. I'm sorry about that, Chris.
it's all good.
He got a bounce, man. It was good for good to see you, Chris. Thanks for dropping in,
Right, appreciate it. Yeah,
chatting and drawing time.
but yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm like, just kind of just make content and just let people choose. You know,
Well, I mean, I feel honestly that is what's happening. I think that we're seeing a lot of different outlets now with different channels where people are just making the types of things that they want to see. You know.
right? I guess you're right. Yeah, I'm like, it's kind of like think. I mean, I always get to like, okay, what if I created this, whatever? Would people actually watch it, or like, would they really care, and like that? But then it's like, I mean, I guess we don't make it. We have to find out. They
That's
care.
true. You've gotta make it. But here's another thought that I've heard people mention is just if you pander to the audience. It's not saying you
Right.
should intentionally drive people away. But if you pander to the audience and the audience doesn't respond, then you have this thing that you bled your heart and soul into. Yeah,
Wasted your time.
wasted your time. So the idea that I've heard a lot of people say is just try to make the show or comic book or movie that you want to see, because in the end you don't really know whether you're going to please other people. You just don't. And I very much agree with that, which I mean, because the thing is, it's the balance. You don't want to be the
Right.
person that says screw the audience, create your own vision. You want to make something that you hope other people will enjoy, but you have to be the one who enjoys it first. It's combining the
Right.
two ideas. And
Like,
yeah,
I mean, you got it's like that's what I'm like. I'm trying to find that line because I'm just like I may create something and then it gets no response. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? But I'm like, I mean, where's that happy middle? I'm like, I mean, I thought when I was creating, I was supposed to be creating stuff that I like. I mean, just like go off with Tyler Perry when he makes his movies. Like he
yeah,
obviously he's creating things that he likes to do and like and things he likes to talk about. I mean, he's getting a lot of pushback now from a lot of people because they're like, thinking about like, yo, why does he make the same movie? I mean, yeah, it's always
well, it might seem like the same movie, but that's because that's what his audience is asking for.
right, right,
You know,
right, right. They're used to that. That's the point.
I mean, I can tell you as somebody who has a wife who likes to rewatch shows, and she looks at it. It's not about me. I'm the type of person where there are shows I will go back to and watch because they taught me something artistically. But I tend to be more of a on to the next one, or whatever that person made. What's the new thing that they made? Like, I made a blog post just the other day about Department Q, and it's by the same dude who did Queen's Gambit, and he did a western called Godless, and now he's
Yo,
doing
is
a
that the movie with the girl that was doing
yeah,
chess?
yeah,
Yeah, that was that. Yo, she's dope, yo.
yes.
They need to put her. I don't know. She needs to be in a. I don't know, like a super. I can't think.
She's been in. She was Furiosa. She was a young
Man,
Furiosa. She
what's
was
her
in
name?
Mad Max. The new
Mad Max.
they made a spin-off of Mad Max
Oh, okay.
called Furiosa, and it was like her as like a young as a young woman. It was like
Okay.
the origin of Charlize Theron's character. She played the
Right.
young version. I mean, she's been in a lot of big movies, and she is very
Right.
very good.
Right.
Um,
I'm like, I don't know. I think they need to create like a dope like sci-fi franchise with just her in it. Like this from the ground and build it up.
mhm.
Like kind of like how they was doing with like the one lady that was playing Resident Evil. Even though I didn't like that, but I
Mhm.
mean, kind of like yeah, there you go, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
that's beauty pie. She's cool. Like I mean, they need to just make something with her. And
Mhm.
she's like so that Queen's Gambit, yo, that was really that was a really good show.
No, it
Really
was
good.
fantastic. The reason why I brought it up is simply because the same showrunner, the guy who kind of created that show, so he's got a new show called Department Q, and it's a cop drama in Scotland,
Mm,
and it's about PTSD and dealing with trauma. But it's a really 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 good show, really well written, really well acted. Everyone in it is fantastic. The main dude, believe it or not, the main dude, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's been in Downton Abbey, which I never really watched, but I remember him from Zack Snyder's Watchmen. He played Ozymandias in that movie a long ass time ago. That's where I know him from.
what's it called? Is it called Department Q?
Department Q.
Okay, yes, I'll check that out.
Yeah, that's like the new thing that I watched that my wife and I were both really really into.
Is it like one season or two seasons?
It's one season so far, but they tell you at the end that they're going to make a second season. It just came
Okay.
out a few months ago.
Well, that's what's up.
So I mean, and I was kind of like, I was gonna be, I would have been so pissed if they only got one season because it was so satisfying as a show that had I not gotten more, I'd just been like, Netflix, you make me want to quit you.
Right, right. There's a couple of young actors like this. They stepping up. Like another one was the young girl that was on the Full House show. She played Michelle Tanner's like little friend. Like she's a grown woman, like
Mm-hmm.
children now. But she's a really good act. Like she's like they need to put her and Anna like put them in together and like they really stepped it up. Because I don't really see too many like people. I'm seeing like the same people that they use over and over again. I mean, being like black dude. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they pick the same people over and over again. Like to my mother, I'm like I get tired of like they should. It's so many new actors out here that they can just hire and just new people. I'm like I want to see the same soul food movie over and over again. Like, I call it soul food number 12 because it's the same movie over and over again. Something gotta happen to Big Mama. Somebody sleeping around with somebody. Like this craziness. I'm just like so many people out here that have like so many different vast like ideas and stuff. Just try something different. I mean, it don't have to be the same. But I guess I'm not a producer, so they try to show things that people support. And some people support like a lot of some good stuff, but majority of it is a lot of garbage, trash, like reality television. Like some of that stuff is horrible, but people watch it, and them shows be on for like this, like the Kardashians. How long has it been on? Like almost 10, 15 years, I think. I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Stuff like right, but I know it's still on.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's on. I know it's still on. So it's just crazy.
I saw. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but there's a YouTube channel. This woman has a YouTube channel called I think it's just or not. She has a web series that they're doing, and I think it's just called The Comic Shop, and it's like it's kind of like Clerks, but it's supposed to be it's a Black owned comic book shop in LA. So it's like a workplace comedy in a Black comic shop in LA, and I've been meaning to watch the first episode because I was watching like kind of the behind the scenes videos of her just putting the show together, and I was like, this looks like it's gonna be the jam. So, and she's like an indie film producer. She's just writing it, directing it, put her crew together, cast it, and they're just making their show and putting it on YouTube. So sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah, they started that way with Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai started as a YouTube joint, and then they got noticed, and Sony started putting money towards it. Like, and they started, and they got like almost 5 or 6 seasons of that Cobra Kai show.
Well, I mean, even with Cobra Kai, it was always a paid network show, but it was when YouTube was trying to be a streamer, like making original content, and then Netflix picked it up. But I'm talking about like indie, like people that are they're not getting paid by YouTube. They're just putting up the thing.
Those guys that create they were like straight. They didn't like they was like I guess they had like free reign to some of these characters, these people, But yeah, it was like straight off like they just like they had an idea like how about we put Johnny and what's his name. I was surprised that even Ralph Macchio even wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? I was like shocked.
Well,
it was like a YouTube gig.
Well, that's the thing. Like that's why I still kind of say I'm not poo-pooing it, but I'm saying it was still a Hollywood deal in terms of like getting the cast, getting the actors together, as opposed to an independent filmmaker just making something and putting it up. That's the distinction I'm making. Yeah. Even Issa Rae, before Insecure, she used to have a show called Awkward Black Girl, and that's where I first heard of Issa Rae. It was a long time ago, and they didn't make a ton of episodes. I don't know. I think they maybe did. Well, actually, that's not true. For an indie series, I think they may have done like 2 seasons of it.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't even watched Atlanta. I just feel like some of these shows kind of be like, I don't know, with us in them. I can't.
Insecure was fantastic. Insecure was fantastic.
I never
get on it. In fact, I think it's on Netflix.
Atlanta, I just never even. I may get a chance to check it out, but I don't know.
Wait, hang on just a sec. I heard banging in the other room. I want to make sure my wife is okay. You all right? All right. So I'm sitting here, goddamn, live streaming. My wife's bleeding out in the other room. No, I just had to check on her. Okay, everything's good. But no, Insecure is absolutely fantastic. It's very worth your time.
All right, now man, like I told him, I always give it like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit there 10 minutes and watch it. If it doesn't pull me in, that's like kind of like when we watch movies. Like I give it like at least 15 minutes, and like if it get dragged me, like I mean, I was a projectionist, so like I used to put movies together and stuff like many years ago, and we used to watch movies. I had to watch the movie because to make sure that the film was put together correctly. I mean, we did for like 12 years, whatever. But I'm like, yeah, it's like after the first, it's like, and it was weird because people like, they was like, that's just because like you're so used to like to the format of like how the movies like the beats and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like if I don't feel you, like if I don't feel a movie like in the first 5 or 10, 15 minutes, like mainly it's like 15 minutes, like and if it don't pull you in, I'm like, I'm done. I just can't. I won't do it. It's like a waste of my time. Then you will be sitting there for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I probably have a bad habit of sticking for with the show longer than I should. Mainly because I just having made stuff, I always feel like no one goes into making a show intending to make something crappy. So it's like a lot of times I will give shows a lot more leeway in the hopes that I can try to find what it was they were trying to get at. And sometimes the concept, the idea they were pursuing is more interesting than the final execution. And I may sit with something too long at the end, be like, yeah, I should have cut that off. But yeah, it's just I tend to be really forgiving.
Easy for me, boy. I'm like, if it don't, it got like, and it's these a lot of these people. Some directors are really good at hitting like those beats in less than 5 minutes. Like like they hit whatever like they draw you in. Like it could just, and then like you're like, wow, like and then and just in those 5 minutes you thinking that you might have watched like 20 minutes worth of a show, and then you look up, you're like, oh, that was only on for 5 minutes. Like wow, like so that's how you know. And then some of them like you try to drag it out, for about maybe 20, like a half an hour, but like 15. I give it always like 15 minutes, but like. I don't know, especially like, and it's really hard. Like if you're making like a movie, like you really gotta, cause like if you're making like a movie like a Superman movie, you gotta what's going on, Paul? You gotta
what up, Paul? Good to see you.
You gotta hit those pieces really, really fast because those movies are like they're like a 2-hour movie. Like you gotta hit that stuff really quick. As opposed to like if they made like a Superman series show, like they can drag things out a little bit. You gotta get people in and out, in and out. The sweet spot was always like 1 hour and 30 minutes. I used to put those 5 reels together. That's like 1 hour and 30 minutes. Like that's the sweet spot. A lot of children movies are like that. And a lot of some quick action movies are like that.
Well, I gotta say, just as being a person of a certain age, movies are too damn long now. Mainly because I got to get up and go to the bathroom.
Right. Me too. Me too.
Which is another reason why I am much more likely to wait for things to come onto streaming than to go see it in the theater. Because then it's like, oh, I need to take a break and pee. I need to get a snack. I just pause it. I actually prefer that experience.
Find your way back into the dark, into your seat. Like, you see your girl waving her hand, like, ooh.
By the way, Paul, I was gonna say Paul co-signs on Department Q.
Okay.
That's the show I was talking about earlier. That the ending was satisfying, and that's the main thing. A lot of times you'll go on these journeys, you get to the end, and you're like, "Oh, it's real good." That ending's stupid. That happens more often than not. And to be fair, a good ending is hard to do. I'm not diminishing that, but it tends to be unfortunately rare. And I think that they nailed it, and it literally was like it finished, and I was like, I want more. And that's the sign of a good show, is when it ends and you're like, I need to see the next. They're coming with heat.
Yeah, I'm like, Brian said, hey, people. Yeah, it's a couple of people. Brian,
oh yeah, Byron's in there. Hey Byron, how you doing? Sorry, we got caught up in the rapping and the chit chat, and that's one of the. But although I will tell you, that's one of the nice things about having someone when I'm talking audibly. Like usually whenever I have somebody on, I end up not checking the chat as often because it's like I actually have my head down. Like this is, yeah.
I'll keep you on track
Hmm.
with that.
Well, this is kind of what I like studio wise. Like for me, it used to be I would have friends that I could do creative work together. It's like we would just be sitting in the same room, just chopping it up while we're work. In fact, have you ever, like when you were in school or just in general, have you ever had a period where you were working in the same space with other artists, like same room?
Yeah, like when because I didn't have a computer,
Hmm.
we would I would go to class and I would go, go home. But
Hmm.
when it came time to had to knock out work, I had to go back to the computer lab.
Hmm.
So most of the time I would go back to the computer lab like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I see my homies in there.
Hmm.
Like they be in there working. I'm like, what you working on? They're like, oh, I gotta do this digital piece. I'm making, I'm editing videos and stuff like that. Okay, word. I might be working on some like artwork, whatever, but I'm using Photoshop or something like that,
Hmm.
to try to, it was kind of like that. So yeah, it was like that was the best experience I had, like, as far as like
Hmm.
that aspect of it, especially when it was a lot of working students. It was a lot of working students. It was just students that just like you knew they was gonna be successful. They was just in the lab like every day. Like every
Hmm.
time you walk past there, you see them. What's up, yo? You like, I see them sitting in there. I'm like, yo, you still in here? Like, man, I ain't getting my head out of here. Just like, yeah, it was always something like that.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I mean,
That was the
yeah. Like I mean, I was lucky in that I was a fine art major, so I could paint at home in my. Well, a lot of times actually, I would paint in the lounge in my dorm. Like I would go into the public space where all of the other students that lived in the dorms were hanging out and they were working on writing papers or studying or doing whatever. And I would come bring my drawing board, my paints, because I was working in acrylics, not oils, and I would just post up and I would just hang out with everyone else. And while they're writing papers and
right.
going over quiz answers, I'm just sitting there and I'm chatting it up with them and I'm working on a painting or I'm doing sketches. And it's like that was nice.
I would go to like the when it came time for me like to knock out papers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I would try to go to the actual like literature like lab or something like that. I would because I mean I knew for a fact if I was to know that I had to knock out like a 15-page paper and I'm going to like the digital lab where dudes and we all in there like doing drawings and stuff. I'm gonna want to stop and do artwork. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So I would you literally go to like to the literature like stuff like type building whatever they had that digital they had labs. It was very quiet in there, very like a like library, like a lot of computers, people just in there. All you hear is fingers in there, like talking and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm like, but now when I wanted to get like some artwork done,
Hmm.
like if I was doing like a mixed medium piece, like I do some traditional work, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna scan it and then work on top of it, stuff
Hmm.
like that. Takes a digital lab. Yeah, like that's where everybody was at. We was all in there trying to get that work done. That was great.
Hmm.
I missed that aspect of it, and having like work with other artists that we could just kind of sit down. I mean, now that we online,
Hmm.
like that's a whole new thing. Like you kind of do the same thing with your with your webcams and your setup, whatever. Like I mean, easy now. If you got like OBS, whatever,
Hmm.
you can hook like, or if you got Zoom, you can put like 100 some people in there. You can sit around and rack, and we can show each other our artwork, what we're working on, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I mean, that was one of those things when people were telling me that they would watch the live streams and that they were keeping me company, that I was keeping them company while they were working. I was like, I was humbled by that because that's sort of like that's the experience that I miss having. So the fact that
Right.
other people having that experience along with me, I was like, wow, that it's just humbling, you know?
I mean, I'm not drawing anything, but right
Hmm.
now I am literally sitting at my desktop computer because,
Hmm.
like, again, like I said, I've been trying to, get like a lot of stuff together. Like,
Hmm.
I haven't really did like a lot of like digital artwork, but I'm sketching that work. But at the same time, it's like just sitting at the computer where I was like I have access. I mean, I'm like listening to you rap,
Hmm.
your stuff. But at the same time, I'm able to pull up my my interactive drawing tablet and I can draw like on the screen and stuff. And I can like I'm on paper like while I'm listening. So like it creates that atmosphere of like being like in a class. So I'm like, Dad, more of these. We need to have more of these, and I guess when you have time, like I guess like we need probably maybe I don't know, maybe I may probably do something like this. Maybe I just think
You should, man. I mean, honestly, just because I mean, I like before. Well, I was gonna say before I had like a mic that gave me better sound, I was just literally just recording off of my phone and just getting, just putting my stuff out there. So it's like you should absolutely do it. I highly encourage it. By the way, I was going to tell you, I don't know if you heard when I started the stream, I was going to do the Patreon live stream. Like we're getting like a little bit past an hour here, so we're going to wrap up, but I'm going to take like a 20 or 30 minute break, and then I'm going to do the Patreon live stream for about 90 minutes after, like right after this. So if you feel like popping back in for that too, I'll have that set up. And the thing is, I always forget to mention it until the end of the stream. But for anybody else who's a patron, we're gonna do another live stream right after this, where we're gonna be doing we call it art book study group. Where we do deep dives into the art books and try to suck out all the knowledge we can. So that'll be coming up.
Like, do you do this every week, or is it every other week? Because I mean, because with me, because my time is so so jacked up, it's like I definitely want to like maybe sit down and do something like that. But it's like I probably have to like put in PTO. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like if I know ahead of time, like I have to probably like take off the time and spend it.
The idea is to do it twice a month, and I think that's the thing. My schedule has been messed up all summer because of work and moving and everything that's going on. In fact, the class that I was supposed to teach next weekend, I had to push the class because I haven't had time to prepare, and there's stuff that involved with us moving that's happening next weekend. So I can't do it. So I was supposed to even be teaching a class in person, and I had to push that to November. But yeah, the idea is supposed to be on the first and third Sunday of each month to do the Patreon live stream right after, because it used to be that I would do it in the evenings, and just I tried one time to do it like right after this live stream, and it just seemed to go over better. So I thought, let me try that for a while. I've tried to be flexible in terms of when I'm doing it, and I've been forced to be flexible because my schedule's been messed up. But going forward, I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to try and do it the first and third Sundays. But let me tell you this: do not take PTO in order to catch the live stream. It is so much like, I mean, hell, if anything, you can hit me up on Discord when I'm working in the evening, and I'll just get on Discord and I'll rap with you while I'm sketching. I don't want you missing work or changing your work. You need to get paid, man. You are hustling, you're busting your ass. That is
believe me, it's about to get funky soon. Like I said, I'm looking for like 2 jobs. Like actually, I'm thinking about probably becoming like maybe like do like an online teacher type thing. So like it's like a thing that you can get certified for. Now, so I'm literally like thinking about this right now, like doing maybe do transcriptionist. So like I'm also continue to do security, but also I was also trying to pick up like maybe probably becoming like an Uber driver. So that's cool. So in the next 3-4 years, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a monster.
You Jamaican?
I'm trying.
I see you Jamaican.
No. Might as well be, but like, that's like, no. I'm tired of being like this. You know that it's like it's like I don't have no other way of trying to like I feel like the best way to do it is just to try to beat it. Like I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep like money coming in. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy.
I mean, I feel you. I wouldn't have been able to go to school if I had to pay full like student loans, and so if I didn't have the scholarship, I would not have been able to go to school, or at least definitely not the school I went to.
Not yet, Paul, but I may. But believe me, like I'm sitting here like I'm trying to like like optimize like my time, and then like I'm literally having conversations with the AI, like how to tighten it so tight where at least I'm like I still want to have like at least a certain amount of hours so I can sleep and stuff like that. It's gonna be to the point where we going like PowerPoint, but like what's the other thing when you on Microsoft when you filling like grids or whatever? Like I'm
Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because I'm gonna have to I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to find, and then the time to knock out and get this stuff done. They said that it's doable. I'm like, and it's just, I just have to have the will to do it. I'm like,
it's hard.
I really haven't had the time because I was sick, But now I'm like, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm just like, I might as well hop on it while I'm feeling good, and keep it moving.
Got to make hay while the sun shines. By the way, Chris, I was gonna say. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
When you do the inking, do you have it on pressure sensitivity? Because I know, like, because you said you got that same book that I got. It's a digital DC book. Like, you don't never do like your lines first, like maybe like one at one point and then go back over
a deadline weight.
Yeah.
No, I always use pressure sensitivity. Like, I've got it set right now. Like, if I just like glide the line I'm making right now, I am putting no pressure. I'm just letting it touch the surface. But if I put just a little bit of pressure, it gives me a line. And more often than not, what I actually try to do is, like, in Procreate, like over here on the side are notches. So as you move the slider up and down, you can actually, like, just when you can put a plus sign, like there's a minus if I want to get rid of this notch. But these little notches that are over here on the side are places where I've pre-saved brush sizes. And what I actually tend to do is I will do most of my line work with a larger, wait, that's on the eraser, but I'll do it with a larger brush that gives me a big thick line. And I'll do sort of like the silhouette and the holding line. And then what I'll do is I'll intentionally use the smaller brush, just for facial features. And to be honest, the ear should probably be part of this as well. But what I do is that way the delicate features stand out more. And the larger lines are sort of the structure. And and I say the small brush just for detail. And this actually mimics how I work traditionally, because when I ink with a brush, I will ink most of the figure with a number 2 brush, a number 2 synthetic round, and then
I'm good. Like I said, I put all those supplies, like, so when I want to work on the table and all that.
You got it good to go. So what I'll do is I'll ink most of the figure with the synthetic number 2 round, and then I will use a 0 or a 00 for the detail. And so, yeah, it just, and that's one of the things where a lot of what people do digital, that's where having the traditional background helps, because you can just say, all right, how do I get the same effect as what I'm doing? As what I would do if I were inking with just a regular brush. And yeah, so I know people who do everything in a like with a one size digital brush, or if they're drawing traditionally, they'll do it all with a micron, and then they'll do multiple passes to give the brush thickness. Right. Yeah, and line weight where they need it. That it's just not my bag. It's because I am always hesitant to criticize a technique. I'm hesitant to say this is a bad way to do it or the wrong way to do it, because there's always a handful of artists out there for whom that's the only way to do it, and it fits and it works, and it doesn't matter how much you try to tell them other ways to do it. So I always try to make space for people's individual workflows and individual creative processes. But for me, learning to ink with a brush was really a matter of, like, I'd been trying to ink with a brush since I was in high school. And
it's hard.
Yeah. And the thing is, yeah, what I would do is every 5 years, I would go back and get, well, all the artists I love, they ink with a brush, and I would go back and I would try and do it for like 3 months or 6 months, and I would just get frustrated and quit. Now, after I had done my first graphic novel, which I had actually drawn with a speedball dip nib, like a calligraphy nib. Right. I found one that gave me a line that I wanted, and I inked it with that and then just a brush for spotting blacks.
Right. There you go. Like, see, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I'm figuring out, like, with me, I stopped using, I just started drawing with an ink pen. So
Mhm.
I've used an ink pen, and then if I want to spot blacks, whatever, I could just kind of use like a
Mhm.
marker, like sharp black sharpies and stuff like that. And I'm like, and I do have the inks and stuff like that. I mean, I can go over and embellish, like, if I want to do that, but I've mainly been, keeping it tight with, like, I buy like a whole bunch of I noticed that the gels,
Mhm.
black gels, they're really good because they glide like almost like a paintbrush when you want to get really highly detailed and stuff like that. So I use that, and then I use the Sharpie markers, and then I was like, okay, if I want to get painterly, I do have the, I want to do like washes and stuff like that. I got, the brushes, I got the inks, and I can dip that, and do all that, so.
Mhm. Yeah, well, where I was going with it was that the way that I got to actually inking with a brush was that when I started doing conventions, I would have a hard time doing commissions with microns, and I certainly couldn't do it with a dip pen at a convention table. So I was doing it with microns, and all the little lines took too long. So I switched to using brush pen. It was around the time that the Pentel brush pens, and like around 2010 when you started getting affordable, high quality brush pens. Pentel had the pocket pen brush. There were a couple of different Japanese models that were hitting the States, and I was using those, and they were giving me lots of really nice lines. And it was funny because one day I was doing a commission, and I was thinking about somehow the conversation about inking with a brush came up, and I looked at the pen in my hand, and I looked at the fact that the tip was just a tiny little tip.
Right, but it's nice.
Yeah, it comes to such a nice tip, and it's like all of a sudden my brain just said, "Oh, I'm using brushes that are too big." Like my brain just looked at me and said, "You dummy, you're using brushes that are too big." Because the thing is, people who are excellent inkers, they have so much control that they can take like a Raphael like 7 or 8 brush, like the Series 7, but they'll get like a brush that's like a number 6, like a big fatty fat brush, and they can get tiny, delicate, thin ass lines, and then then they can fill blacks, and then they can get thick to thin. They have so much control, and I realized, oh, I just don't have the control that these guys do. But I can compensate for that by buying a brush for for large things, a brush for medium lines, and yeah, and a brush for small lines. That way, I don't need to have the control. Much like when you're working in digital and you just switch brushes depending on how much detail you need, I would just have my 3 brushes at the side and switch depending on what I'm inking. And that broke inking with a brush wide open for me.
I think I got a 2 and either a 2 and a 4. I think maybe I got like maybe it's a 2 and an 8. Like a big joint. And then I bought like 2 boxes of like the black gel Pentel because I can do finer things with that. And then like when I scan that stuff in, I can always adjust the levels and stuff like that to make it look, nice and pretty, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I had to figure out a workaround because my hands are so heavy. It's like Ali trying to do these things, man. I'm like horrible. But I had to figure out a way how to work around it.
Yeah. Well, okay, look. So anyway, I'm going to take a break and wrap up this one, and then in about 20 minutes, I'm going to start the Patreon live stream. If you want to jump back on for that, please do. If you're busy and you got to work, the replay will be on to watch later. Okay, all right, guys. So on that note, let me go back to the main screen here because I realized we just got into the flow. We were just chopping it up. But yeah, for anyone else who is not a patron and you would like to become a Patreon subscriber, like Herman, you can join the Cool Kids Club for as little as $2 a month. Head over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. And you can hop on that Patreon exclusive live stream where we'll be continuing. We're doing a little deep dive into some art books. We've been doing a long running series on Walt Reed's The Figure, and you're going to get the library of all the previous videos I've done on that book. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. If you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comic books, or if you're digital on Kindle, you go to amazon.jeremy.net. They'll forward you to my Amazon author page. You can pick up books like my very first graphic novel, Eye of the Gods, inked with a dip pen with a speedball nib. You can pick up my most recent project, Morning Star. It's a retelling of Lucifer's Fall from Heaven as a Western. It's an 8-issue series. Volume 1 contains issues 1 through 4. Volume 2, the conclusion, has issues 5 through 8. Both have extensive back matter, not blog posts, script excerpts, character designs, thumbnails, page layouts. I basically show you how I put the entire comic together. And there's book flip throughs on the homepage of my YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, what's inside before you pick it up, you can head over there. And you can also pick up Wound, The Art of Jeremy Burley, Volume 1. Has a collection of some of my best illustrations and art prints in there. You can pick up all of those. Amazon.jeremy.net. All right. Herman, thank you as always for hanging out. Always cool to rap with you. Thank you to everyone in the chat for the great comments and hanging out. See, Dylan said, at this moment, my tools are a mechanical pencil, Pentel color brush, Molto round black liner, and Crayola crayons.
Right. Yeah,
Break it.
I started using crayons too, like for blending and stuff like that.
All right. Maybe I need to break out the crayons.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. That's it for now. Go be creative.